Recording is on.
Yes.
We are
Cool.
fine. Okay. So today we have Martin Hanczyc, as our speaker, and Martin is also working at CBO for a couple of years now, and then
Yeah, 6 years, I think,
the-
already.
and so he will tell us something about why and why he decided to come to work at CBO, and briefly what is your path of your career.
Okay, great. So yes, I'm originally from the United States, and in my training, I have moved around the world. Sometimes as a visiting professor, but also sometimes for a more long-lasting job. And so I've worked in the U.S. I've worked in Italy twice, in Denmark, visiting professor in Japan, also New Zealand, and I have a joint appointment also in the US. So I've been around the world and working in different types of academic environments. And I have been here in Trento, Italy at Cibio for the last 6 years, more than 6 years, in the Department of Biology. And I came here for work, and um, mostly because I realized over the course of my career that one of the most important things for my work that suits me personally is academic freedom, to have the freedom to pursue whatever questions, scientific questions that I want to pursue and develop new lines of research. And I found that in these different kinds of environments around the world, many people don't enjoy academic freedom. There are different kinds of compromises one might need to make, whether they're institutional or financial or whatever they are, that can limit your scope of your research. And I found here at Cibio that wasn't the case. I found that the way Cibio is organized, that you actually do have academic freedom to really pursue what you want to pursue in life as far as research. And so this is it suits me very well, this kind of environment, because I feel like I don't have limitations to this, so I can come up with some new ideas. What does it mean you come up with an idea? Well, you think about it, you discuss it, and maybe you do some experiments in the lab to see, well, does this make any sense? If the experiments look good, then you have to go out and convince people to give you some money to buy the things you need to do your research. And so this is a main part of my activities at Cibio, is trying to do fundraising to find money for these kinds of scientific projects. And if the projects are good enough, or at least well presented, then you might be able to find money for these projects like I have, and then you can pursue your dreams.
That's very nice, Martin. And so this brings me back to the second question: is that if you can describe to us what is your science and what you do in your research.
Yeah, so my science is a bit particular. I call it artificial life or artificial biology. I'm a biologist at heart, and I want to understand how biology works from first principles. And so in order to do that, I build models, which are actually laboratory models of cells, but from chemical components using chemistry and physics, and building these kinds of strange things. Sometimes people refer to them as blobs. I make little chemical blobs that move around and try to find resources and things like a living cell might do, but they are not alive. They're very much artificial. And I study these processes. So what happens when you take matter that is not animated and you animate it in some way so it behaves like a living cell or a living organism. So I study artificial life or artificial biology. This is a particular field, though, so that's I guess the other reason why I'm at Cibio is because in your career, you don't, you might not be fortunate enough to do all the things that you want to do. There always are constraints, geographical constraints, financial constraints, political constraints. And so sometimes you have to find, if you're not in the right environment, you hopefully can find the right environment somewhere. And so at Cibio, they were looking for someone like me. So it was also, I like being here, but also it's nice that Cibio wanted me to be here. So it was a good fit for me.
That match. Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. And just by switching a little bit gears now, I wanted to ask you more something related to what the students of this course will be asking, maybe. And if I would like to imagine if you have a big impact in one of your papers or research, how much do you think the public opinion would know or would count on this subject? For example, um, what is your opinion on about how your science should be mm, published or exposed to the public?
Yes, my personal feeling um, about this, it might not be the mainstream opinion, but my personal opinion on this is that almost all of the money that I get from my research comes through the public, from taxpayers. Therefore, when I have an opportunity to present my work to the general public, I say yes. And you'll find things online on YouTube where I've done this, trying to speak to the general public about what I do. But I think it's not necessarily an obligation because other colleagues don't do this. But I think for me, it's a pleasure
Mhm.
to try to come around full circle back to the people who have initially, let's say, made my research possible and present something to them that they might find interesting. And so I believe this is so there are different ways of doing this. You can give a public talk. I've done a few of these. I've also done various exhibitions with let's say, under the topic of sustainability or architecture or even art. So I've done some art exhibitions where I've gone to the public and really presented the technology that we developed, but in a different way, in a more expressive form. And so for me, it's a pleasure for me to also develop this sort of interaction with the public.
That's nice. Maybe if you want, you can give me your address for your YouTubes and art exhibitions so that I can attach them so that the students can also have a look of this part
Cool.
of your work.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. No
so I
problem.
think the for the time we have to spend in this interview, it's over. But I just wanted to
Oh,
ask you, yeah, one last thing is if you have anything to say to the students for their life, for their career, for their work, um, what
yeah,
you
sure, sure. It seems, I mean, life is complicated, and in a lot of things, I feel um, no matter what your best efforts are, a bit out of your control. I've experienced this many times in my career where I've had ups and downs. And it seems to me that the theme that works, at least for me, and probably works for other people, is if you find something that motivates you to get out of bed in the morning, no matter what it is, and you stick with it, you then have a good chance of actually fulfilling your dream and what you want to do. So one thing is finding that topic that motivates you. That's sometimes difficult to do. It took me some time to do that. Finding some topic that motivates you, and then in the face of opposition, being persistent and sticking with it, and realize that you're going to have low periods where it's going to be very difficult, but those low periods will hopefully end, and then things will start to get better again. And so I found that also for many of the successful people around me, it seems like they have something inside them that allows them to keep going even if life is pushing back. So you keep pushing forward and life is pushing back. And those are the people who seem to have reached some degree of maybe not success, but satisfaction in their
yeah,
lives, which is
that's
very important.
absolutely, I agree. Okay,
Mhm.
Martin. So thank you very much for your time. And I will post this on the 28th for the students actually to see 1 week in advance. And if you want to join for the open questions evening, I don't know what time exactly yet, will be probably late afternoon. You're welcome to
Perfect.
come.
Thank you. Please invite me. That'd be nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Ciao.
Okay. Bye, everyone.